April 16, 1945, 0743 hours, Okinawa, Japan. The sky is pale blue. The sea is calm. USS Laffey rides at anchor on Radar Picket Station Number 1, 80 miles north of the invasion beaches. She's alone out here. Just a tin can and her crew, floating on the edge of hell. Seaman Jim Townsley scans the horizon from his 20-millimeter gun mount. The morning is quiet, too quiet. He lights a cigarette. The wind takes the smoke. Below him, the Pacific stretches out in every direction, endless, indifferent, beautiful. Then the radar operator's voice crackles through the ship's intercom. "Bogies inbound! Many bogies! Bearing 020! Townsley drops the cigarette. It rolls across the deck and disappears over the side. The sky begins to hum. Within seconds, the hum becomes a roar. Black dots appear on the horizon, dozens of them, growing larger. They're not turning away. They're not dropping torpedoes. They're diving. Captain Julian Beckton grips the rail on the bridge, his knuckles turned white. He's 41 years old, a veteran of Guadalcanal, the Solomons, and a dozen other battles. He knows what's coming. He's seen it before. "All hands," he says into the microphone. His voice is calm, steady. "Man your battle stations." The alarm screams across the ship. Men sprint to their guns. The Laffey comes alive, a beast waking to face its death. This is their story. For 3 weeks, the Battle of Okinawa has raged. It's the bloodiest campaign in the Pacific War, the final stepping stone to Japan. The island sits just 340 miles from the Japanese home islands. Take Okinawa, and America can launch the invasion of Japan itself. And the Japanese know it. They've unleashed a weapon born of desperation, the Kamikaze. Pilots with just enough fuel for a one-way trip. Men turned into missiles. Planes turned into bombs. The word means divine wind, a reference to the typhoons that once saved Japan from Mongol invasion. But there's nothing divine about what these pilots do. It's mathematics, cold, brutal math. One plane, one pilot, one ship. The destroyers on radar picket duty are the first targets. They're the tripwire, floating 60, 70, 80 miles offshore, detecting incoming raids before they reach the fleet. They give early warning. They vector in combat air patrols. They're the shield. It's the most dangerous job in the Navy. USS Laffey is a Sumner-class destroyer, 376 feet long, 60 officers and 316 enlisted men, 6 5-inch guns, 12 40-millimeter anti-aircraft guns, 11 20-millimeter cannons. She's one of the most heavily armed destroyers afloat. She was commissioned in February 1944, named after Bartlett Laffey, a sailor who earned the Medal of Honor during the Civil War. She's fought at Normandy, at Cherbourg, and across the Pacific. She's a veteran. But nothing has prepared her crew for this. On this morning, she will face 22 separate kamikaze attacks in 80 minutes. The odds say she shouldn't survive. But Julian Beckton doesn't believe in odds.
07:44 hours. The first wave comes in low and fast. 4 Vals, Japanese dive bombers. They split formation, attacking from multiple angles. It's a standard tactic: divide the fire, overwhelm the defenses. The Laffey's guns open up. The sound is deafening, a continuous roar that makes the deck plates vibrate. Tracers streak across the sky like deadly ribbons, red, white, orange. Every 5th round is a tracer, so the gunners can walk their fire onto target. "Target left! Left!" a gun captain screams. Gunner's mate second-class Tom Fern swings his 40mm mount. The twin barrels chatter. The gun shakes. Spent brass casings tumble to the deck in a metallic waterfall. A Val erupts in mid-air, ripped apart by 40mm shells. Flaming wreckage tumbles into the sea 100 yards off the port bow. The fuel ignites on impact. Black smoke rises. The crew cheers. One down. But the second plane keeps coming. It's smoking, trailing fire, but the pilot doesn't pull up. He's committed. His face is visible through the cockpit glass. Young, determined, already dead. "Brace! Brace! Brace!" The Val slams into the aft deckhouse at 300 miles per hour. The explosion is enormous. A ball of orange fire expands across the fantail. Steel groans, plates buckle. Fire blooms across the deck like a flower made of hell. Mount 53, the aft 5-inch gun, is obliterated. The crew never knew what hit them. 4 men die instantly. Their bodies are never found. Becton doesn't flinch. He's seen ships die before. He knows the signs. Laffey isn't dying. Not yet. He turns to his helmsman, Seaman Lawrence Delowski. "Hard right rudder, flank speed, keep us moving." Delowski spins the wheel. The Laffey surges forward, her engine screaming, carving white foam across the blue Pacific. If she stops, she dies. A stationary target is a dead target. A third Val dives from starboard. The forward guns track it, firing in a steady drumbeat. Mount 51 and Mount 52 fire in unison. 5-inch shells climb the sky. Each one weighs 54 pounds. They explode in proximity bursts, timed fuses that detonate when they sense the target. Tracers walk up the sky toward the plane. 1, 2, 3. The 4th shell connects. The Val disintegrates 200 feet above the deck. Wings separate from fuselage. The engine tumbles end over end. Burning metal rains down, clattering across the ship like hail. The 4th Kamikaze pulls up at the last second, spiraling away. The pilot has lost his nerve or been hit. It crashes into the sea half a mile out. A geyser of water rises 50 feet. First wave repelled. Damage control teams race aft. Chief Water Tender Fred Burgess leads them, dragging fire hoses. The heat is intense. Paint bubbles on the bulkheads. Men shield their faces. "Get water on that fire, now!" But this is just the beginning. The radar operator's voice comes again. "Second wave inbound, bearing 045, multiple contacts." Becton closes his eyes for half a second, then opens them. "All guns, stand by." Oh, 800 hours. The second wave arrives before the fires are even out. 6 aircraft this time. Zeros. Faster. More agile. The most feared fighter in the early war, now repurposed as suicide weapons. They come in from every direction, a coordinated swarm designed to overwhelm the defenses. The Laffey twists and turns like a dancer, her wake a serpentine trail across the ocean. Every gun is firing. The noise is apocalyptic, a continuous thunder that makes speech impossible. Men communicate through hand signals and screams.
Spent shell casings pile up on deck, ankle deep. Loaders work like machines. Lift, load, fire. Lift, load, fire. Their hands blister. Their ears bleed. They don't stop. Gunner's mate R.A. Fotradis locks onto a zero, banking toward the bridge. His 20mm cannon chatters, a high-pitched, angry sound. Tracers chew into a plane's fuselage. Holes appear. Smoke streams. It wobbles, loses altitude, and cartwheels into the water 50 yards off the bow. Got him! Got him! His loader, Seaman Gene Cook, slaps his back. 2 more coming! But another zero comes in from the starboard side, untouched. It skims 10 feet above the waves, using the ocean as cover. The 40mm crews swing their barrels frantically, but it's too low, too fast. The guns can't depress far enough. Brace starboard side. The plane hits just below the waterline, amidships. The explosion ruptures fuel lines. Fire roars through the engine room. The ship shudders. Steam hisses from split pipes. Men scream. The lights flicker. In the forward engine room, machinist's mate Robert Johnson is thrown against a bulkhead. The temperature spikes. Steam fills the compartment. He can't see, can't breathe. Evacuate! Evacuate! But some men don't make it. 3 engineers die in the inferno below decks. Chief Engineer Lieutenant Frank Manson charges into the smoke. The heat is unbearable. The air is poison. They wrap wet towels around their faces. They seal bulkheads, fight fires, drag wounded men to safety. Becton's voice cuts through the chaos. Damage report. Steering intact, Captain. Engines holding. Fire in compartment C-203 and 204. Then we keep moving. The ship groans beneath them, but she obeys. Oh, 8:15 a.m. A Betty bomber roars in from astern. It's enormous, a twin-engine heavy, loaded with ordnance. 800 pounds of bombs in its belly. The gunners track it, firing everything they have. Mount 52 fires. The 40mm quads fire. The 20mm cannons fire. Shells tear through its wings. One engine explodes in a shower of sparks and burning oil, but it keeps coming. The pilot's already dead, slumped over the controls, but the plane's momentum carries it forward. "He's not stopping!" someone yells. The Betty slams into the aft deck like a meteorite. The explosion is cataclysmic. Mount 52 is blown overboard. 5 tons of steel and men simply vanished. Fire engulfs the stern. Bodies are thrown into the air. The ship lurches violently, rolling 15 degrees to port. For a moment, the crew wonders if this is the end. Seaman Robert Dockery is blown off his feet. He slides across the deck, grabs a stanchion, holds on. Around him, men are screaming. Some are on fire. Some aren't moving. But Becton's voice comes again, calm and unshaken. "Fire parties aft. Pump stations, report. We're still afloat. We're still fighting." The men don't give up. They can't. They grab hoses, extinguishers, anything. They fight fire and steel and gravity itself. Pharmacist's mate William Stansel moves through the carnage, treating wounds, applying tourniquets, dragging men to safety. "You're okay. You're okay. Stay with me." Some do. Some don't. 0830 hours. The radar screen is solid with contacts. They're not single planes anymore. They're formations, waves, a storm of iron and hate. 4 more kamikazes dive simultaneously. The Laffey's remaining guns fire in all directions. It's chaos, beautiful, terrible chaos. One kamikaze is shot down at 600 yards, explodes in midair. Wreckage splashes across the water. One misses, pulling up too early. It climbs, stalls, and crashes into the sea a mile away. One hits the water beside the hull, detonating close enough to buckle plates below the waterline. The concussion lifts the ship. Men lose their footing. Water pours through the rupture. The 4th plane, a Zero, screams in at the bridge. Lieutenant Matthew Darnell, manning a 40mm gun, stands his ground. He fires until the barrel glows red, until his hands burn, until the Zero breaks apart 20 feet above the deck. The engine falls straight down, crashes through the deck, and comes to rest in the crew's mess hall. Tables are crushed, the bulkhead buckles. Darnell is blown backward by the blast. He slams into the deckhouse. Gets up slowly, checks himself, ears ringing, face bleeding, still breathing. "Reload!" he shouts. His crew stares at him. Half of them are bleeding. One man's arm is broken.
Fire!
They reload, because that's what they do.
Open fire! Fire!
8:40 hours. 3 more planes inbound. Vols this time. Dive bombers. They come in from the sun, a classic tactic. Hard to see, hard to track. Mount 51 fires blind, tracking by sound and instinct. One shell connects. A vol explodes. The other 2 keep coming. One drops a bomb. It misses by 10 feet, detonating in the water off the port bow. The shock wave lifts the bow. The ship shudders. The second vol dives straight for the bridge. Every gun on the forward half of the ship fires at once. The sky is solid with tracers. The vol is hit a dozen times, but momentum carries it forward. It hits the starboard side, just aft of the bridge. The bomb detonates. The blast tears open the deck. Fire erupts. Men are thrown overboard. Becton is knocked to his knees. Blood runs from his forehead. He wipes it away, stands. "Steering? Still responding, Captain. Then we're still in this."
Oh 08:45 a.m. USS Laffey is dying. 5 direct hits, dozens of near misses. Fires rage across the ship from bow to stern. Half her guns are destroyed or jammed. The rudder is damaged, responding sluggishly. She's circling slowly, helplessly, like a wounded animal waiting for the killing blow. Becton stands on the bridge, covered in soot and blood. His uniform is torn, his cap is gone. Below him, the deck is a hellscape. Wreckage everywhere, bodies covered with blankets. Men with tourniquets and burns, still manning their guns with shaking hands. The intercom crackles. "Captain, we've lost pressure in the aft fire mains. We can't fight the fires anymore." Becton doesn't respond immediately. He's watching the sky, always the sky. Another formation is inbound. 3 Vals, 2 Zeros, coming in from the west, silhouetted against the morning sun. "How many rounds left in Mount 51? 30, sir, maybe less." "Make them count." The forward 5-inch gun fires, slow, methodical, each shell a prayer. 1 Val explodes at 1,000 yards, fire and metal rain into the sea. Another veers off smoking, one wing shredded. It spirals down and crashes half a mile out. But the third one gets through. It hits the port side, just above the waterline. The explosion opens a massive hole. Water pours in, flooding 2 compartments. The list increases. 10 degrees, 15. The Laffey begins to roll. Below decks, damage control teams fight to seal the breach. They hammer wedges into the rupture. They shore up bulkheads with timbers. Water is up to their waists, rising. Pump stations! We need pumps online now! For the first time, Becton considers the unthinkable. Abandoned ship. He looks at his crew. Teenagers, boys, most of them have never shaved, covered in blood and oil, still loading guns with trembling hands, still firing, still fighting. One boy, he can't be more than 17, looks up at the bridge. His face is black with soot. He gives a thumbs up. Becton makes his decision. We stay. He picks up the microphone. All hands, this is the captain. We are not abandoning ship. We are not surrendering. We fight until we can't fight anymore, and then we fight some more. On deck, men hear the words. Some cry, some laugh, some nod. They fight.
.55 hours. Out of the clouds, a sound. Distant at first, then unmistakable. The roar of American engines. 4 F-4U Corsairs scream overhead, their gull wings flashing in the sun. Marine pilots from VMF 441, based on Okinawa. They've heard Laffey's desperate radio calls. They've come. The Corsairs tear into the remaining Kamikazes like wolves on sheep. Machine guns blaze. 6.5 caliber guns per plane firing in unison. The sound is like thunder. 1-0 goes down, wing torn off. It tumbles into the ocean. Another tries to dive on Laffey. A Corsair drops on its tail, firing. The Zero disintegrates. Pieces scatter across the sky. The Japanese planes scatter, breaking formation, fleeing. But the Marines stay. They circle Laffey like guardian angels, flying combat air patrol, daring anything to come close. On the deck, men collapse. Some cry. Some laugh hysterically. Some just stare at the sky, watching the Corsairs, unable to believe they're real. Fortritas sinks to his knees beside his gun. His hands are blistered. His face is burned. He's been firing for over an hour straight. We made it. We actually made it. 900 hours. But it's not over. The last Kamikaze makes its run. A lone Zero, engine sputtering, trailing smoke. The pilot is injured, half dead.
Boy, that first drag sure tastes good. "11 days. Well done, Massey Hughes.
USS Laffey survived 22 kamikaze attacks in 80 minutes. 6 direct hits, 4 bomb strikes, hundreds of rounds of gunfire, 31 men killed, 72 wounded. She refused to sink. Tugboats towed her back to Okinawa, trailing oil and smoke. The crew worked around the clock to keep her afloat. They patched holes with mattresses and sheet metal. They pumped water. They put out fires. When she reached port, Navy engineers surveyed the damage. One officer shook his head. She should have gone down. But she didn't. From Okinawa, Laffey was towed to Saipan for emergency repairs, then across the Pacific to Bremerton, Washington, where she spent months in dry dock. They cut away the damaged sections, rebuilt her stern, replaced her guns. By 1946,
she was back in service. Captain Julian Beckton received the Navy Cross, America's second highest military decoration. His crew earned a Presidential Unit Citation. The ship herself earned 5 battle stars. The men who served on Laffey that day never forgot. Every year, they held reunions. They stood together and remembered the friends who didn't make it home. Barry Futrides lived to be 94. He never fired a gun again. Matthew Darnell became a teacher. He never talked about the war, but every April 16th, he lit a candle. Jim Townsley went home to Ohio, married his sweetheart, raised 3 kids. Sometimes at night, he still heard the sound of engines, still saw the planes diving. Today, USS Laffey rests at Patriots Point Naval Museum in Charleston, South Carolina. You can walk her decks, touch her guns, stand where those boys stood on the morning they refused to die. The ship that wouldn't die, a monument to courage, to resilience, to the power of ordinary men doing extraordinary things. Because sometimes the only difference between victory and defeat is the refusal to give up.
If you want to hear more stories of courage under fire, subscribe and hit the bell. Next week, the Battle off Samar, when destroyers charged battleships and changed the course of history. This video is dedicated to the men of USS Laffey, DD-724. Fair winds and following seas.